のジョルノ・ジョバーナには夢がある。
What's going on, everyone? It's Robert Downey Jr., aka Gamebie here. Welcome back to yet another Genshin Nerd Out where we talk about all things Genshin, including, but not limited to, our Lord and Savior, Stanley Tucci. You all know he's a great actor, so don't even try to deny it. Before we begin, today's fun fact of the day is that a squared plus b squared equals c squared. This has been the Pythagorean theorem by Gamebie. Tune in next week where we talk about the economy of Mozambique. Alright, so we're still on the chapter of characters based in Mondstadt, and so far we've done Lisa and Amber. I'm not going to count the MC siblings because, well, we really don't know where they're originally from, so to put them in the Mondstadt category would be a bit of a stretch. But since we're covering the Knights of the Favonius, it only seems legit to continue at this pace and focus next on the acting Grandmaster, Jean Gunnhildr. A person with the weight of the entire city of Mondstadt on her shoulders and the burden of perfection as a cherry on top, it's kinda hard to be Jean, but only Jean can do it best. You might have noticed in the rather lengthy title of this video that this isn't a typical nerd out sesh. No, this is rather a two-part series because Jean and Barbara are sisters by blood, and I feel the best way to do them both justice would be by making a two-part series known as quote-unquote sisters. Similarly, I'll do a two-part series for people like Kaya and Diluc, and even Zhao and Zhongli. But in the meantime, for those of you who aren't familiar with Jean, well, that's what this video is about, so stay tuned! For Mondstadt, as always, that is the motto of the Gunnhildr clan. The Gunnhildr clan is one of the more prominent families alongside the Ragnvindr family, to which Diluc belongs, and formerly the Lawrence clan, a family of pretentious aristocrats that were driven away by Vanessa all those years ago when their evil ways did not stop. But that's a video much later in the future. There's a lot to cover simply with the citizens of Mondstadt, and I'd rather not dilly-dally in the other details. The Gunnhildr clan was formed long before Gunnhildr herself gave it its name, and not much is known about what happened to the clan during the aristocratic era of Mondstadt before Vanessa took over. But in the present, since the Gunnhildr clan is a prestigious one, Jean has a heavy burden on her shoulder. Ever since Varka, the actual Grandmaster of Mondstadt, left on yet another one of his expeditions, Jean's been tasked with pretty much everything. I'm not kidding, if you do her story quest, she was almost tasked with finding a pet cat. A pet cat! This girl is a powerhouse and I'm all for rooting for her, but damn, it doesn't hurt to rest once in a while. You might think that Jean's always been a self-starter and all, and to that I say, yeah, it's possible, but her story details suggest a much stricter past that has paved the way for her to become so strong-willed and focused. Since the Gunnhildr clan is one that has always been proud of its lineage, it only seemed natural that Jean can be trained to be perfect in every single way possible, whether that be emotionally, physically, or even mentally. The Gunnhildr clan is the oldest family of knights in Mondstadt, dating back to even before the first epic was written. However, this long and proud lineage can also be a burden. Jean was raised by her mother to be the successor to the Gunnhildr clan. She was trained in all things a knight must know and all the qualities they must exhibit, from discipline, etiquette, and conduct to knowledge of history and ballads, as well as maintaining peak swordsmanship and physical fitness. Only by upholding this standard can Jean carry the mantle of the Gunnhildr clan, whose motto is, for Mondstadt, as always. Jean was already forced to carry the burden of being a member of the Gunnhildr clan by birth, so it didn't seem like she had a choice but to follow in her mother's footsteps and attain utter perfection in pretty much everything that is to be expected of a Knight of Favonius. Whether this has been to her chagrin or not isn't really a mystery. The focal point of Jean's story quest was how even someone as perfect and composed as her can become exhausted. Just because you're the acting Grandmaster of Mondstadt doesn't mean you've gained immortality or secret recipe to never experience physical and or mental exhaustion. For Jean, however, it's not too much of a stretch to say she wishes for an infinite amount of energy. She wishes to be reliable 100% of the time no matter what may come her way, which she admits is just a little bit impossible. She even literally hates the fact that there are only 24 hours in a day. She's that dedicated. Honestly, I don't think there's any other character that we know of currently in the game who's just as hardworking as she is. To her, her knightly duty takes priority over her role as acting Grandmaster. She believes helping others herself is the best way to assist. She holds her fellow knights to the same standard. Lisa, the librarian, once suggested that Jean take a break and, quote-unquote, enjoy some afternoon tea as is befitting of a lady. However, to Jean, doing that which is befitting of a knight takes priority over doing that which is befitting of a lady. In comparison to Lisa, who might be super powerful but just chooses not to show it ever, Jean wants to make sure every task she accomplishes is done so in a graceful manner. Such is the life of a Knight of Favonius hailing from the Gunnhildr clan. You might have also caught me mentioning the name Varka and the fact that Jean is the acting Grandmaster of Mondstadt. Well, that's because she ain't the true leader of Mondstadt, at least not officially. Let's explore a little more about the slightly controversial leader of Mondstadt. Varka is interesting. He isn't someone I've found to hate, but he isn't someone I can say with full certainty I like either. He's well liked by all, he's pretty jovial, and he's very well liked by the citizens of Mondstadt, but he's also kind of carefree. Not something you'd expect from a guy leading an entire region of Mondstadt. He tends to put all the workload on Jean while he goes off on his expeditions with other knights. He is the Knight of New Frontiers and Legendary Conquests, while she is the Knight of Maintaining Peace and Freedom. Jean does not resent Varka. Perhaps there is wisdom in his conduct. However, that Varka leaves undone falls on her shoulders, and it is then down to her to do the right thing. Half a year ago, Varka led the elite Knights of Favonius on yet another expedition away from Mondstadt. An expedition. How typical of Varka's character. I'll leave things here to you. I mean, you've basically been doing my job for years now anyway. Leave it to me, Grandmaster. After seeing the Grandmaster off, Jean sat by the window and thought to herself, upon your return, I will show you a kinder, more prosperous, and more peaceful Mondstadt. Come on, you can't not love Jean. While Varka goes on expeditions to reach new frontiers and accomplish conquests to be told in the tales of yore in the far future, Jean stays back to make sure Mondstadt is in check and hopes to maybe even make it more peaceful than when Varka left to explore Teyvat. The only reason Varka takes on these conquests, well, he's considered to be the strongest person in Mondstadt. He's even nicknamed to be the Titan of the Knights of Favonius, so that tells you a bit about his power level. The 11th Fatui Harbinger, Tartaglia, who is known to be feared in the arena, wants to fight Varka.
Huh. Varka? Just the thought of one day going head-to-head with him in combat. The fabled Knight of Boreas himself, Titan of the Knights of Favonius. It makes me buzz with excitement. It's a beautiful life we live in this world.
So, it's safe to say that Varka belongs in the great outdoors where he'll be needed the most. While little is known about him, Razor does describe him as a super tall dude. I don't know, that remains to be seen, but Varka's a character I'm going to keep a close eye on. But I'd like to move on to a more intimate topic regarding Jean, her family. While we have seen a little bit of Jean's vulnerable side during her story quest, I would regard that as a vulnerability caused by physical exhaustion. What about her inner vulnerability? What would the Dandelion Knight do if faced with problems too tough to handle even for her? Jean Gunnhildr was bestowed the honorary title of the Dandelion Knight at the mere age of 15. When I was 15, I was trying to get through the hellhole that was high school. At such an age, an accomplishment of this sort was a milestone achieved by very few. A lineage of pure supremacy and one that showcased exemplary leadership and unsurmountable perfection. The great tree at Windrise is where the first Dandelion Knight came to the end of her journey. She was Vanessa, the founder of the Knights of Favonius and the restorer of Mondstadt. She bade farewell to the city she had vowed to protect, leaving behind her legend and a single sapling. After centuries of basking in the bliss of the thousand winds, this sapling grew into a towering tree. Jean was conferred the title of Dandelion Knight at the age of 15. The title of Dandelion Knight is also known as Line-Tooth Knight. Passed down through generations of knights, the title is bestowed upon only the most distinguished. On the day that she received the title, Jean excused herself from the celebrations that followed the conferment ceremony. As if following in the footsteps of her childhood hero, she went and stood before the great tree. the title of Dandelion Knight symbolizes Vanessa's legacy of resistance and benevolence. So how, Jean thought, could one such as herself be worthy of this honorable title? This is a burden that Jean carried at the mere age of 15, and one that had started her journey as the Dandelion Knight of Favonius. But an unbroken Jean doesn't result in an unbroken family. Her mother, Frederica, was a member of the Gunnhildr clan and was very keen on keeping up the name and dignity of it, but she found that she had fallen in love with Jean and Barbara's father, Simon Page, who was but a mere adventurer who eventually gave up that life to marry Frederica. Unfortunately, the relationship had fallen apart and they each took custody of one of their children. Simon Page had taken custody of Barbara, and Frederica Gunnhildr took custody of Jean. While Simon became the Cardinal of Daybreak of the Church of Favonius, which was the main reason why Barbara became the deaconess of the church, Frederica focused solely on training Jean and striving for her to achieve peak perfection as a knight. Because of this, Jean hardly knows her sister anymore and the two have been as separate as ever. Jean has always wanted to get closer to her younger sister by blood, but cannot bring herself to say anything when faced with Barbara's evasive eyes. Perhaps all too similar awkwardness is a sign that the sentiment is shared. Even if Jean wanted to get closer to Barbara, Barbara would often avoid her, for her own reasons. This is why Jean focuses on her work, and is also why, even after trying to dig as much as I could out of her, I couldn't find any evidence of her talking about her family. Jean doesn't want to talk about her family. That life of her is nothing but a pipe dream, and dwelling on it will be a waste of time for her. She shields herself from such topics and would rather focus on being the shield of Mondstadt. Hey, maybe that's how she got her vision when she did. Protecting has always been tougher than destroying. Around the time when she was promoted from captain of her squad to master of knights, a huge challenge stood before her. From without, the Fatui exerted diplomatic pressure, and from within, there were traitors, comrades of the former inspector. Regrouping and finding a way to break through was no easy task. But Jean was able to fend off the external pressure with one hand and lead the knights to smash the many plots off the Abyss Order with the other, re-establishing the authority of the Knights of Favonius. Jean will never forget the moment she received her vision. At that moment, all seemed to grow quiet as she felt the breeze flow through her hand. The world seemed to fade away, save for the time-honored motto of the House of Gunnhildr, for Mondstadt, as always. So, sure, while we know that Jean felt the breeze flow through her hand, yada yada yada, vision got into her hand, yada yada yada, we aren't given an exact timeline or any events that can parallel when exactly this happened. The most we can make of this information is that her hard work re-establishing the Knights of Favonius most likely did the trick for her to receive her vision. She was able to keep her stand when the Fatui did what they do best, annoy every region in the form of governmental wahoo, and she managed to fend off traitors who were in cahoots with Irok, who was the former inspector for the Knights of Favonius and who was also responsible for concealing the death of Diluc's father. I wouldn't juice him out just yet, but keeping up a strong pose while trying to work against these two powerful forces is a tall order, and Jean handling it very well is exactly why she deserved her vision. Everyone looks up to Jean. There isn't a single good soul who doesn't praise her. And the people of Mondstadt, especially fellow Knights of Favonius, know what she's going through. She has a bit of history with her family, but her sister doesn't hate her. No, in fact, Barbara looks up to Jean in every form and is the gawking little sister who would do anything to be just like her amazing bigger sister. I'll definitely cover her more in part 2 of this mini-series, but until then, it's best to stay optimistic about Jean Gunnhildr. Like Mona said.
You mean the acting Grand Master of the Knights of Favonius? Her constellation is Leo Minor, which represents strength and responsibility shouldered too young. Though the lioness has been separated from her pride for a long time, she grows from strength to strength, and the day will come when she is ready to return as its glorious leader.
Well said, Mona. When she says pride, she talks about her family and the Gunnhildr clan, but when she finds her inner strength, whether that be emotionally, physically, or mentally, she will truly become a force to be reckoned with, even more than she already is. maybe she'll be able to take on the likes of Varka. How she's been able to stay so strong-willed and motivated, even I can't figure out. Until then, let's cheer on for the Dandelion Knight and hope she gets with Diluc. Gets stronger. She gets stronger and more passionate as the acting Grand Master of Mondstadt.